Somebody just called. We're talking about my son's college choices and where he might go. Cordova.
He's got some big decisions to make.
Of course. We're not,
Is he feeling pressure?
Doesn't seem to. Doesn't affect him. I'll tell you
Nothing
that.
seems to.
No.
Is he discussing this with his peers?
I don't know. He says, I'll be all right. A few times he said that when we've really gotten down to brass tack.
Some of his other friends have, more, I don't mean this in a bad way, more concrete plans?
Some do. Some have already been accepted, and because you can do early acceptance, and some have already been accepted. And
now, sometimes if you're an athlete, you can do that.
This is, some baseball players and stuff have already done that.
Sometimes they commit early.
Academics does it too.
If
you really.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And we just had a P1 listener who called, and I actually saw Biggie do this. I only heard Biggie's side of the conversation, but apparently the guy said Chris Kelly's son should look at the Army, the Air Force, and before he actually said the word force and Air Force, Biggie said, "Let me stop you right there."
That ain't gonna happen.
I don't waste your time or your minutes.
Go to the military. Now,
Similar thing happened to me. When I started high school, I had a guidance counselor who, in front of my parents, said, I don't want to push anyone a certain way, but I do mention to everybody to take a look at the armed services. And my father looked at me and then looked at him and says, "Does he look like he's going to be going into the armed services?"
I'll tell you, my father tried to push me to the armed services. He said, "Make a man out of you." He said, "Get in there, retire at 45, 50, see the world, and come out a better man and serve your country." And I wish I'd done it. I mean, I wasn't hearing it at that time. It's like, no way. But now.
There were no wars then either.
Well,
there was the Gulf.
The Gulf War started about 2 years later. It started, the Gulf War would have started when I was in there. But, I look at it now, and I know some guys who were really good in the military, and they're retired at 45 and, living their life. And they've done all that. It all came true for them. And I said, but I don't want to, I don't want to be on the front lines of a war. And my mama said, they'll protect you. My mama
protect you.
Yeah, they said,
I think you do the protecting.
Well, she said, you're so smart, you'll be an officer. That's what she said to me.
I don't think that's how it works.
She said, you're so smart, you'll be an officer, and you won't be on the front lines. That's what she said. Now, I didn't believe her.
I'm not sure that it works that way.
I'm not sure either. I didn't think she knew.
No.
Now, I just read, it's funny you say that, and a person called about my son going into the military. A 4-star Army general, whose name is Xavier Brunson, says that Americans who are of age to go into the military are mostly too fat or too criminal to join the armed forces. He put it out there like that. He said they just had a recruitment drive, and they fell 20,000 recruits short of their goal. So there are fewer and fewer going into the military. And he says right now, according to our estimates, 23% of people of age to serve are even physically able to enroll to serve because we're too fat, too lazy, or we have criminal backgrounds already. And so the military is worried that we don't have enough people, I know. But now, Dave, your son's in the military, and he wasn't the picture of health when he went in, was he?
No. And he was when he went in, but he started. He went he graduated high school in the spring, and then he went in March the following year. But that time in the summer and the fall, he had to lose about 25 to 30 pounds, and he did it.
He got in shape.
He did it, and then he went in March in 2020,
which
changed everything.
Oh, yeah.
So he didn't really have the full basic training that you would normally get because there was things that were completely different. I said, you kind of got off lucky.
Well, yeah.
For what was 8 weeks in Chicago.
Because you didn't have to do it.
You didn't have to do a lot of stuff. You didn't have to shower with people. They only let 2 people shower at a time.
Right.
In separate ends of the shower.
Yeah.
They had more bunks. They had to split them up more. They had to go to lunch at different times. It was more individualistic than it was that team.
See, my son will never do it. But I think if you could fast forward 35 years from now, it would have been a great thing for him. I think it would, but he'll never. And in fact, the recruiter called my house, and my wife talked to him, and she said, "Well, he's never going to do that." And my wife even said, "You don't want him. You don't want him protecting America." And the recruiter said, "Oh, you'd be surprised." And she goes, "No, you don't know. This one's a special case." Now, I don't know. I think he could do it. I think it would really do something for him, to be a part of something bigger than himself.
There's so many different facets to it.
Exactly.
You could be out in the desert, or you could be in Asia. My kid's in the Navy. I've been on more boats than him in the past 2.5 years.
Where's he? San Diego.
He was in San Diego. No, he's in Spain.
He's in Spain and
he's
loves
sitting on the side of near the Rock of Gibraltar there, looking at sunsets.
And loves it.
I don't know if he loves it. He has days.
Okay.
But that's
all right. But
that's
still,
anything. There's days he hates it. There's days he doesn't mind.
Well, hey, I didn't really love this job yesterday, did I?
No, you really didn't. It's true.
We all have days.
And you're old.
We all have days. Exactly. I've been through the wars, not really, but I've been through these battles here with this computer system and
True
stuff.
that.
Billy, you're talking about the military now. Go ahead.
Yeah, the reason why the recruitment numbers are so short, just like the gentleman was speaking on Catawba College, it's become the wokeism, and not a lot of people want to serve under that.
Oh, really?
Or be a part of that.
Is that a reason that people don't want to go into the military? It's more. I thought the military was less woke than college institutions.
Oh, no. It is. Nowadays, if you take a good look inside of it, it has become very woke like these colleges.
Really?
Can you give any examples? I mean, it's easy to throw that word around.
What are some of the what has changed over the last few years?
Well, if you take a look at it, kind of like the LGBTQ community, that's very big in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And the part of the Democratic Party, their morals and values is getting in place into the military, so it's not the same as it was for country and God.
So it's different as far as what has your son said anything about that, Dave?
No.
No,
he's not. He's not woke.
He's not. Your son is not woke.
No, I'm more woke than he is.
My son sleep.
Yeah, my son sleep, but he ain't woke or sleep. He does sleep, but no, that's not. That's not from my understanding.
For him.
Yeah, for him, he's not.
Thank you, Billy.
He's liberal in no sense.
So he's conservative.
Yes.
And has no problem with what they're doing in the military.
Yeah, it doesn't bother him.
It hasn't.
I think it affects you if it affects you personally, but for the most part, they don't. It's not a blanket kind of thing.
Anonymous, you're talking about the military. Go ahead.
When I was 16, me and my buddy stole a car, sold some liquor, got drunk, crashed it, big thing. Now, this was in the 70s. The judge went from the judge with my mom and dad. He said, well, he'll be 17 next week. You either can go to jail or you can go into the military. My dad took me down, signed me up for the Army. I retired 20 years later. I was 37 years old. I got a job at the post office, and I'm retiring the post office next year.
Wow.
So I'll have 2 retirements at 59.
Wow. See, that's what I tell my son.
Yeah.
Put in 25 years and retire at 43.
You didn't look at it then. He's not going to look at it now.
I know. But I have so much more wisdom. And I mean, when you look back on, if people would just believe you, I mean, I'm serious. I agree, but if I could just impart that to him. No, I wasn't hearing it from my father either. How was your time in the military, Anonymous? Would you say you enjoyed your 20 years?
I needed it.
You needed it.
Because I was on the wrong path.
Yeah.
And after 3 years, I figured I was 19 years old, barely turning 20 after 3 years. I've been to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
They're feeding me. They're giving me a piece of sleep, and they're giving me money.
Yeah.
So they said, if you sign up for another 3 years, we'll give you a $20,000 cash bonus. And I wanted a nice car, so I said yes. Yeah. And the next thing I know, it was 20 years later.
Did you see any action? Were you in any? Were you fighting?
No. I was in during the Cold War, but we didn't see nothing.
Right. Now it's it's hot now. I mean, there are places in the world. Yeah. Thanks very much, Anonymous. Appreciate it.
I do get money. Yeah. I mean, that's a plus. My kid drives the car he wants to drive.
I think it's a great option, but I can't tell my kid that. And my kid's not on the wrong path. He's just.
Not on a path, is he?
No, he's lazy. I mean,
plenty of kids at 18, 17.
Absolutely right. But he's like this caller just said I was on the wrong path. My son is just more lazy and soft, and I think he's scared to death of it. And I think in 2 years it would be like this was the best thing I ever did. I think that. Dale, you're talking about the military. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just telling Biggie, I served 22 years as a soldier, and I've been working for 16 years as a Department of the Army civilian. So over 38 years of experience with the military, and the wokeism is a bit over-exaggerated. The military is a microcosm of our society, but the democratic infringement and all that other stuff, it's not as bad as it seems to be. People join the military to serve their country because there's something honorable in that. And I think that we can't downplay that. And that's all I had to say on the wokeism in the military.
I like it. Do you agree with the 4-star general who says numbers are down because in general, young people are fatter and have criminal records, and so their recruitment's not going well.
Well, in one regard, I don't necessarily want to say fatter, but the soldiers, potential soldiers, I believe, are less physically fit.
Yeah.
And I also think that the military has become increasingly technical, and I think that the mental aptitude to serve is a bit more strenuous. So, the Army, I can speak only for the Army because that's where I served. We are having difficulty meeting our recruitment goals, but again, it's quality over quantity, and as long as we bear that in mind, then we'll have a military that will support and defend our nation.
All right, Dale. Thank you. I really appreciate the call. Shouldn't have said fatter. That's my word. That's my word.
You're projecting.
I'm completely projecting right now. I'm talking about my own self. I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be throwing that out.
It's not your son you want to join the military, is it?
It's me. I want to get in better shape.
You want to go.
Army, or Navy, Air Force,
Marines. What a great place.
It's a great place to start. I should start right now. I should walk up to the recruitment office and say, have you got room for these old bones? Can I get in there and serve,
Where are you running from, soldier?
Hell, I'll be retired at 75. Shoot.
Climbing out of your tank.
Climb out.
Now, I need to play pickleball on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Sergeant.
I'll do 20 years at the post office, be 95 and retired.
That's right.
It'd be
That's your
great.
dream.
That's my dream. Trucker D, you're talking about the military. Go ahead.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, sir.
So I don't want to be offensive to you, Kelly, but let's just be totally honest here. Most of these young boys today, they are not raised with the toughness and the mental capacity that most of us was raised with, and they don't know how to take any orders. They've been given everything their whole life, so now they have to actually go take orders, stand in formation, and learn how to earn something that's far greater than themselves. They have no idea how to do it.
Now, why would that offend me? 100% right. I think that's absolutely true. I think if my son went into the military within about 2 days, it would be a huge wake-up call for him, and a good one. I mean, I think he would need it.
Probably 2 hours.
Absolutely. I mean, the first...
right off the bus.
Right off the bus. When they shave that head, that hair he's always looking at. But, 2 years from now, I think he'd be like, if he was honest, he'd be like, this is the best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
But he'll never do it.
But a year in, 6 months in, he'll say, hey, I want that car. He'll have it.
Yeah, of course.
Because they give you a bonus.
Yeah,
They say, hey, join 5 years instead of 4. Join 6 instead of 4.
I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great career.
It's a great place to start.
And finish.
Yeah.
I mean,
My kid talks about going to college. As soon as he's done, he wants
Yeah.
to come back and go to NC State, and it's paid for.
So, right. But do you think he should stay in for 20 years?
That's his call. He knows what he likes and what he does. He knows his job.
Yeah.
So he has to answer that.
Wouldn't
bother me. If
He's
he
in
did.
Spain. I think it's
I know,
a
it's
great
beautiful.
career. Yeah. Poly Girl Cassie, you wanted to comment on the military. Go ahead.
Hey, you guys, long time no talk.
Yeah.
It's been ages.
Yeah, good to hear
Yeah,
from you.
it has. I was living in Virginia for a while, but I'm back now, so I'm listening more and I'll call more. But I wanted to call and say I was in the Navy for 9 years. I joined in 2001 and I got out in 2011. I was in boot camp during 9/11. I was part of ships that launched the initial Tomahawk launchings in the Gulf. But what I wanted to say is, I wasn't in too terribly long ago. And some of the people's comments about the wokeism is crazy. It's not like that. What it is people are allowed to finally be themselves. It's not a matter of wokeism. It's that this country lived for so long in the shadows and keep blinders on, don't ask, don't tell. Everybody thought that was fine. Well, it's not fine because you still couldn't be yourself. That's why I got out of the Navy. I couldn't be myself. I loved being in the Navy. If I'd have stayed in, I'd have hit 22 this year.
Really?
But 21 this year.
Yeah.
But I got, I got out because I couldn't be me. I am glad that people can now be themselves and be in the military, whether it's the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Coast Guard. They can be themselves now, and that's good. It's.
Do you think if you had been yourself, that you would have been treated well by your fellow soldiers? In the sailors in the Navy at that time?
Absolutely not by a good chunk of them, but absolutely by those that I actually considered friends. Because there were a lot of people that knew me for who I was while I was in. I just couldn't be open with the command about it. So But you know, it's changing now to where people are allowed to do what they want to do, serve their country, and be who they truly are. I wish I could have, because I would have stayed in and done my 20. But
that, and that don't ask, don't tell. When they came up with that policy, I thought, well, that's good policy. Just you can be whatever you want to be, but don't tell anybody about it. But in reality, that's really not a good policy. I think that was.
It's not.
Because you can't live what you are, right?
Anything that keeps somebody in the shadows for who they want to be, or not who they want to be, for who they are. I keep saying want to be, but that's not correct, because that's who they are. I'm transgender. That's who I am. I'm polyamorous. That's who I am. But I can't be those things and serve the country during my time of wanting to serve the country. Right. And it sucks. Don't ask, don't tell. Just keeps things keeps people in the dark. Know.
Yep.
So it's. But if anybody wanted to join today, I've had a couple of customers who have kids that were thinking, and I tell them of the benefits that you can get. You can earn a bachelor's degree in your first 4 years, going to school and working, and it's paid for. You can do what's called CLEP tests. They're basically tests that you can take online. If you pass that test, you get credit for that course. There are degrees that you can get, and you never have to step foot in a school. You do 4 to 6 years, you can walk out with a minimum of an associate's degree, a strong bachelor's degree, and possibly start working on your master's. Then you can get out, go to school after 6 years, and do what you want.
It's a great idea. I love it. I love it for my kid. I really do. I think it would be the best thing in the world for him. He doesn't hear that when I say it. He will not hear that. He'll go over to Cotaba and, be part of that whole thing. Great hearing from you, Polygirl Cassie. Please call us back anytime now that you're back. We appreciate it.
What's his deadline for finding a school, or for getting into a school now? What is?
Well, now the early stuff is November, but you really haven't.
Most kids here in the spring.
In the spring, that's what. But a lot of now. If
you can get in, don't they have a numbers school?
Of course. So the advice we've been given is get in early. Listen, if we're offered, we're gonna say yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no. Is Daddy going to negotiate?
He is. Let's role play. You be the school. I don't even care what school you're from. Give me an offer.
We were interested.
I'll take it. Shake my hand. What do you want me to sign? I'll sign on the dotted line.
Well, first you write the check and then you sign.
I'll take it.
I just pulled in your driveway ahead of a car from Harvard.
Well, now I don't think we're going to have that issue. I'm going to say yes. Well. Dave, a quick call. One more on military service. Go ahead.
Hi, how you doing? This is Dave from Myrtle Beach. Yes, my son's 43 now. When he graduated high school, he had to go to summer school just to graduate because he was goofing off so much. But he joined the Army and went to boot camp, and I went to see him graduate boot camp. And after 8 weeks, the first time we walked in there, the sergeant says to us, "We were able to do in 8 weeks what you couldn't do in 18 years."
Ouch.
Thank you, sir.
Don't call me sir. I work for a living.
No. You see clusters on this lapel?
That's it, Dave. Right there. Thank you so much.